This video is brought to you by Devolver Digital and their Spring Steam sale. Stick around to the end to learn more. I can't have been the only one who saw this coming up and thought, hang on, didn't this game come out in 2018? No, Yahtzee, that was Monster Hunter World. Same title, one different vowel. Alright, no, hang on, isn't this the one that came out in 2021? No, Yahtzee, that was Monster Hunter Rise. Same vowel, completely different consonants. This is Monster Hunter Wilds. Alright, I'm with you now. This is the game where you hunt giant monsters in a pub in North Yorkshire while drinking pints of Morehouse and Theakston Traditional. No, Yahtzee, that's Monster Hunter Milds. This is Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh right, this is the game where a giant monster jumps you in a dark alley and you wake up in a studio being photographed in women's underwear in front of various pieces of antique furniture. No, Yahtzee, that's... I don't even know what the fuck that is. Seriously now, though, Monster Hunter Wilds is a new installment in the long-running Monster Hunter franchise, and it's called that because it's set in the wilds, in contrast to every previous Monster Hunter game, which were set in pedestrian precincts and multi-story car parks. Sarcasm quotes. Monster Hunter Wilds is set in the Forbidden Lands, a faraway realm of various inhospitable terrains generally thought to be uninhabited, although I don't know how we got that impression, because once we get there, the place is fucking packed. Maybe someone drew up a map and wrote, "Here be dragons" across it, and we didn't realise they meant that literally. The Hunters Guild discover it's inhabited when they're flying over it one day, getting some drone shots for an upcoming YouTube documentary, and notice a lone child unconscious in the desert, a member of a mysterious ancient tribe, and who was raised by the Hunters Guild for a few years before returning to the Forbidden Lands to track down what remains of their people and realise their destiny. Boy, that sounds like a character who'd make for a jolly interesting protagonist, you might say. Yes, I suppose they would, replies the game. Anyway, here's you, a completely different person. Some twat who hangs around the aforementioned destined child, killing the giant monsters that keep getting in his way, with slightly anomalous frequency. Like he forgot to mention he's got a sausage in his back pocket. Please choose your appearance, your cat's appearance, and your starting ridiculous outfit. So in short, Wilds has much of what you should expect if you're familiar with the Monster Hunter experience. You explore a wilderness collecting random shit, you fight the same giant monster over and over again and use their bones, tendons, and nostril hairs to craft a better weapon that means you can now kill the giant monster by hitting it 9,000 times instead of 10. And also craft a new outfit, somehow even more ridiculous than your previous one. I had to laugh every time there was a cutscene with your assistant who wears like a hoodie and the blacksmith who wears like a button-down shirt, presumably the one she's had since elementary school, going by how much skin it covers, and they'll turn to you and have no visible reaction to the fact that you're wearing a fucking six-eyed octopus head mask and a rippling muscle suit apparently carved out of wood with a bunch of glowing antlers coming out of the shoulders that in any sane world would have all snapped off the first time we tried to dodge roll in it. I suppose it's only coming across as silly now because Wilds actually has a surprising emphasis on telling a character-based narrative, which moves along at a fair old clip, actually. You've barely killed the monsters in the starting wilderness map 3 times over before the game hurries you along to the next biome, each one featuring a new lost tribe of well-scrubbed people with inexplicably strong command of English, upon whom we get to go all colonial saviour as we murder whatever giant monsters are causing problems. Hunt the giant monsters, the natives then say. Gosh, what a brilliant idea. We'd never have thought of that. We were trying to live in harmony with nature like a bunch of chumps. Thank goodness you white people showed up to set us right. Please enjoy this celebratory feast full of exotic foods being weirdly lovingly shot. So for the first 10 hours or so, the game basically speedruns a fairly standard RPG plot that ends with us tracking down the giant monster that's the source of everyone's problems and killing it while fake protagonist kid has some kind of epiphany while boggling at us from the little enclosure marked place for characters with zero fucking agency. Roll credits. But after the credits, the game basically goes, right, now we've got that out of the way, here's the actual Monster Hunter game. Open fucking wide. And wham! Bunch of new monsters, side quests, special hunts, the real weapons and weapon modifiers and shit all get added to the trough. Rather interesting approach, actually, to have the campaign and the optional faff about shit one after the other rather than alongside each other as is usual. It's like having a lovely iced lolly and then having a lovely stick to chew on. If the idea was to settle us in gently before the real grind begins, then it kinda worked. I did get pretty into it, but I think it shows its hand a bit too abruptly. See, throughout the initial hand-holdy plot-driven part, I never needed to kill a particular monster more than a couple of times to craft a new weapon or armor from it. I actually began to labour under the delusion that I was good at the game. But then post-credits, suddenly it's all like, now for the next upgrade, we need 5 of the thing this one monster only has a chance of randomly dropping if you kill it by plugging its nostrils with your bollocks. No, bad game. Ramped up the grind too quick. Suddenly the first part feels less like an easing in and more the free first taste of heroin. Still, there are things to be said for Monster Hunter Wilds even if the Stockholm Syndrome fails to kick in. I like how the wound system adds some much needed texture to the process of smacking a dude in the bum 9,000 times. There's an emphasis on getting around by riding mounted bird horse things that aren't chocobos, stop calling them that, from which you can use your grappling hook to pick up resources without needing to stop, so traversal's pretty damn good. Bit weird we can't use the grappling hook to grapple onto monsters actually, but maybe they don't want us spoilers in case we start expecting fulfillment and happiness in everyday life. Jumping on the choco thing and riding away for a bit is also a good way to get out of the fight for a quick break, since you can't pause with the online multiplayer focus. Well, you can if you use single player mode, but I couldn't because I was playing offline. I'll pause for a moment while you figure out how that makes any fucking sense. Yes, that's the other thing you should be expecting from Monster Hunter at this point, a really dogshit interface. Getting my business done at camp was like wading through a mangrove swamp made of GUI menus, and equipping and using items in the field is like ordering them over the phone without your credit card close to hand. Still, that's another place that not Chocobo comes in handy. I can just run around the arena for a while figuring out how to extract my whetstone from my dung pods. So, you know, in the end I had fun with Monster Hunter Wilds. So here's the final summary. Not bad at all as Monster Hunters go, just bear in mind that where Monster Hunters go is the place where the interfaces suck ass, and you regularly have to wail on leathery flesh for half an hour like a serial masturbator who just got his casts taken off.
This video is brought to you by Devolver Digital, who are now holding their Spring Steam sale until March 20th. Survive one of the most beloved bullet hell roguelikes in history with Enter the Gungeon, which is marked down to a criminal 90% off. Reacquaint yourself with the nautical antics of Guybrush Threepwood in Return to Monkey Island. Pirate games. They're great. What if your bullet could hit a dude, stop in midair, turn, and then hit another dude? That's Children of the Sun, one of the best indies of last year. Film and produced 1999's hottest reality TV show this side of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire in The Crush House. Add a little kick to your soup and salads with a pepper grinder. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean live the life of a dirt dolphin in 2024's excellent adventure platformer, Pepper Grinder. And find inner peace with 9 of your friends in Karmazoo, the delightful 10-player co-op platformer. Don't have that many friends? Don't worry. Neither do we. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Devolver Digital's Steam page and dig into those sales like the good little dirt dolphins you are.